Hi there, this is Max from Common Sense Machines, and I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to show you how to get really good outputs from our Cube generative AI system for 3D assets. Ultimately, the quality of the prompt that you put in, which is generally an image, is going to have a huge bearing on the output that you get. And you can save a huge amount of time in cleanup and a huge amount of pain by getting the prompt right in the first instance. So I'm going to show you what works well and what doesn't. So some examples of things that work very well are simpler assets, and a really clear way of understanding this is that the less information you put into the system, the better the output that you're going to get. That's not the same as other AI where you would want a lot more context and more complexity for prompting. What we're finding is that these kinds of assets work really well. Similarly, assets and like accessories, weapons, clothing, that kind of thing, simple clothing can work really well too. Some examples of bad prompt, however, would be complex characters where, for example, there's a lot of intricate detail here in this character over here, or particularly complex scenes where there's just a lot of detail and a lot of different assets. The system's not going to perform particularly well. And that's a reason that we often take the approach of breaking an asset or an image down into parts before generating it. So if you do break it down into parts, let's take this boat, and you break it down into parts like that, each of those images is going to come down into a different part and be much, much higher fidelity. Similarly, if you take a character, you will end up having much, much better results as well. I'm going to show you some examples here as well. So if you were to put this robot image straight into Cube, the output that you get looks something like this. And you can see there are some problems with the arm up there. However, if you break it down into this sort of thing, you can then get much, much higher fidelity results here. So you can see that those parts are much better. Furthermore, when it comes to prompting, you can see that this is an example of a chest plate from this character up here. And something went a little bit wrong with this one. So you can see that this is what was output, and that wasn't quite right. So what you can do is you can go, you can take that image and you can say, for example, go to Chat to 3D and say, show me a 3/4 view of this, and then you will get something that looks like that, and then you can turn it into a new image that looks like that's a new asset that will look like that. So there are a few little ways of breaking that around. Another example here. Here's a simple image of a gun, of a strawberry gun, and you get pretty good results like that. However, if you take a very complex image like this, a lot of detail there, you're going to end up with pretty poor results. So overall, I can't emphasize enough, well worth keeping it very simple, and really, really looking forward to seeing how you get on.